What is so difficult about video interviews? So I jump on a lot of calls with people, and this is a thing that I'm hearing from a lot of people, which is I'm fine with real interviews, but I just can't seem to do video interviews. I really struggle with the video interviews. I'm not confident with them at all. So if you watch this video and you think, yeah, Owen, that sounds about right. I'm not too certain with these video interviews. Well, this video is going to be for you, because in this video, we're going to cover exactly what it is that people are finding so difficult about video interviews. And then we're going to cover what you can do to make sure you can improve your video interviews and be successful in your video interviews. So one thing before we do get into that, let me just introduce myself in case you don't know me, you've never seen one of my videos before. My name's Owen. I'm a degree apprentice and I help people get degree apprenticeships in the engineering, technology and finance industries. I myself got 8 degree apprenticeship offers from companies like JLR and Rolls-Royce, and last year I've helped my students get into degree apprenticeships at a whole bunch of companies, including Diego, who I helped get into Amazon, and then other students here who I helped get into companies like HSBC, Deutsche Bank, KPMG, Rolls-Royce, Airbus, Bank of England, just to name a couple. So let's get into this then. What's so difficult about video interviews? What I'm going to do is let me just explain real interviews and video interviews. Like, what do I mean by real interview? What do I mean by a video interview? Just to make sure we're all on the same page here. So a real interview is essentially a live interview where real recruiters are going to ask you questions. Okay, and you're going to have to do this throughout the application process. Most likely it'll be the last stage or the second last stage where you're going to be doing an interview with some of these hiring managers and recruiters and that sort of thing. Okay, and these can be in person or they can be via a Zoom, a Microsoft Teams, a Google Meets video call, or something like that. Okay, most often these days, due to COVID, they're doing a lot of them virtually, but occasionally, especially in the finance industry, they do like to do more stuff in person so that they can be in person there. So that's just a screenshot of like a Zoom meeting. This was actually a mock interview I did with Diego, who I showed you at the start. I did this mock interview with him before some of his interviews, and obviously he ended up getting into Amazon. He also got into JLR as well. So that's just a bit of context for you there. That's what a real interview is. Okay, a live interview where real recruiters are going to ask you questions. Okay, now a video interview. Okay, so a video interview is basically a type of interview they do where there are no real recruiters present. Okay, so it's not like this, where there'll be like two of you, there'll be you, and then there'll be the person asking the questions. Essentially, there's no one present. Instead, a sort of pre-programmed software is just going to flash up a series of predetermined questions and basically record you from your camera as you answer those. Okay. And they do this usually earlier in the application process. So usually they'll do like a real interview at the very end, maybe like the last stage. But maybe it's the second stage, like really soon they'll do a video interview. Okay, as I said, no real recruiters present. It just has the text on screen and you have to record your answers. So either real recruiters are going to watch the recordings afterwards, okay, or in some cases, AI will actually sort of analyze your recordings and analyze your answers. So, for example, if you're invited to a higher view interview, basically a higher view interview, it's a type of video interview. It's just a specific type of video interview. So, for a lot of companies, they're just going to tell you you're doing a video interview. Most likely, the recruiters are just going to watch those recordings themselves. Or if it's a higher view interview, this just means that AI is going to sort of analyze your answers. Okay, so that's all a video interview is. They're still asking you questions, but it's just there's no one present. It's just the computer asking the questions and they record you. Okay, so now that we've gone through that and gone through video interviews and real interviews, why do people find video interviews more difficult than real interviews? And is it the questions? Like that's the first question that comes to my mind, right? Is it the questions? And the answer to that is no, it's not the questions, because actually, in terms of the questions, video interviews are actually easier than real interviews. So here's sort of a list of the different questions which they can ask you in a real interview. Okay, general questions. Basically, I have like a 3-hour plus course on interviews where I basically cover all of these questions, how to answer these questions, etc., etc. And if we just come to the general questions, it's basically a list of these common ones here. Okay, so tell me about yourself. Why do you want this role? Why do you want to work for this company? What do you know about this company? What are your strengths? There's all sort of standard stuff there. So that's what general questions are. Okay, there's also hypothetical, star, philosophical, technical, value-based, CV-based follow-up, which I won't go into this video, but they're all there within the course essentially. Video interviews, very similar. They're still going to ask you general. They're still going to ask you hypothetical. Star questions they can do, but usually it's only higher view. So usually, as I said, in a normal interview, video interview, they don't actually usually ask you star questions. It's mainly only the higher views, okay? But they can throw them in there. These three here, philosophical, technical, value-based, which again, they're different types of questions, which I'm not going to cover today because it's just a bit beyond the scope. But these ones, they're very occasionally. But I'm not trying to go through the questions now. The point I'm trying to make to you here is this is a definitive list of all the types of questions they're going to ask you in real interviews. Compare it to video interviews. There's less questions. It's these two you're basically guaranteed, this one maybe, and these three very rarely, and these two never. So it's not the questions. It's not a case of, oh, I struggle with video interviews because they ask really difficult questions. Not really. They're going to ask you more questions and more difficult questions in your real interview. It's a lot more basic in that video interview. Okay. And on top of that, and another thing just to throw into the mix is, In video interviews as well, they actually commonly allow for preparation time. Okay, so a lot of time in these video interviews, when the thing flashes up on screen, it'll say something like, you have 1 minute to prepare. You have 2 minutes to prepare, you have 3 minutes to prepare. So you actually get that time to think of an answer. Compared to a real interview, where they ask you that question, it's obviously someone on a call, and you have like 5 seconds to answer, 10 seconds to answer. So how's a video interview harder if you get 1, 2, or 3 minutes to prepare, right? Similarly, you actually occasionally get re-recording of answers. It's probably about 50% of the time you can give your answer like 2 or 3 goes. Again, so you'd think that would make it easier, the video interview there. Because the real one, when you're in a real interview with someone, you can obviously only say an answer twice. You can't be like, oh yeah, can we just rewind 60 seconds and I'm just going to revoke everything I said and give it a go. No, you've said it. Whereas a video interview, you can re-record. So on paper, like a video interview is easier. On paper, when you look at the questions and you look at the preparation time and the re-recording. But still, people think the video interview is harder. And why that is, I think there's 2 reasons. Okay, and this is what I've sort of collated from talking to a lot of people. There's 2 reasons behind this, okay? The first one is, when you're on like a real interview, you're going to be in a video call with someone. So just like this, okay, when I was on a video call, you're going to be in a video call with a real person, okay? And people tell me that with a video interview, just doing it with no person is weird. Because if you're on a call with someone, they're asking you questions, you're with them, they're a real person, you're having a conversation, all this sort of stuff, it's real. This one is where literally there's just a screen and you have to talk to your laptop. You're basically like talking to yourself. You're just talking to a laptop. That feels weird to people. Okay, fair enough. And the other reason is that people say is, these are basically the 2 most common reasons. The other one is they don't have a real recruiter to connect with and leave a good first impression. That makes sense, right? Because when you're in a real interview, you can join the call, do a bit of small talk, ask them about their life, yeah? Do the interview, have a bit of, I was going to say banter, but that's the wrong word. Rapport. You can build rapport. That's what I'm looking for. You can build rapport with a real recruiter, connect with them, build that rapport, build that first impression, go ask them a couple of questions at the end to show you're interested, go ask for their LinkedIn, all this sort of thing. Whereas in a video interview, you don't have that. You only have your answers to do. You don't have any other recruiter to talk to. So these are the 2 reasons. If either of these 2 reasons sort of resonates with you, like this is the reason why you're struggling with the video interview, in a second, I'm going to go through and just explain how you can combat this. If there's a 3rd or 4th reason, there's like another reason I've missed for why you think you struggle with video interviews in particular and not real ones, go put it in the comments below. But I think this is the main ones people find with video interviews. Okay, so the first one, let me just press enter a couple of times so you don't look at that one yet. Okay, so basically these are the 2 issues. I think if we solve these 2 issues, we're going to be doing pretty decently. So doing with no person there is weird. So I'm guessing for these people, it just feels awkward or unnatural, effectively talking to yourself. Because effectively what it is some text is appearing on screen. Right, so it's going to appear on screen. Why did you apply to this role? And then you just have to answer it to a laptop. That might seem weird, it might seem awkward, it might seem unnatural. But it just is what it is. You just need to practice it. Okay, like this is as simple as I recommend. If you find it weird, if you find it awkward, and I don't think this will be everyone, because I think some people will be fine, but if you personally find it weird talking to a laptop, talking to a webcam, you need to just get used to doing it then. Simple as that. So that means you need to just randomly start practicing talking to your laptop and computer. It's fine for me, because I've now been filming these videos for like a year now, so I'm used to just randomly sitting in a room and just talking to a camera, and everyone else thinks I'm crazy or something, because they can just hear me talking to no one, right? But it's just practice, it's get used to it. If you find it weird talking to a computer, we'll just talk to a computer more. Okay, just keep practicing, get all the common questions, and practice those into your camera. Okay, film them as well. Film your answers, watch them back, just practice, practice, practice. It's as simple as that. That's the only way it's going to start becoming more natural. Okay? Okay, the second reason, okay, and this is what people say as well, is they don't have a real recruiter to connect with and leave a good first impression. Maybe this is you. Maybe you want to connect with them, build that rapport, and that's going to help you. But I'll be honest right now, this is a bit of a cope. If this is you right now, I'm going to call you out, okay? So be ready for this. Click off the video if you don't want to get called out. If you're going to come up to me and tell me, Owen, I'm fine with real interviews, but the reason I struggle with video interviews is because there's no one there I can connect with. There's no one I can build rapport with or leave a good first impression. So there's nothing for me to show there because on the video interview, there's no one I can connect with. Yeah, that's a cope. What that tells me is you don't know how to answer interview questions anyway. And you just rely on hopefully being friendly enough to get a job. Okay, I'm just going to be, for this section here, by the way, I'm just going to be completely unfiltered and brutal. If you don't like it, then no worries. You can click off the video, go watch someone else on TikTok, right? That's fine. But if this is you, you're saying the only reason you're bad at video interviews is because there's no opportunity to connect. What that tells me is when you do go into real interviews, you're basically relying on that connection thing, that rapport thing, because you don't know your interview answers. If you knew your interview answers, you were good at answering questions, you know what you need to do, you know how to structure them, you know how to stand out, then you wouldn't be telling me this. Because what you'd be telling me is, Owen, I know how to answer all the questions, I'm very confident answering all the questions, I know how to structure them, so my video interviews are absolutely fine because I just do the exact same thing. As you explained 5 minutes ago, they're the exact same questions, so I just go and answer those questions in a video interview, boom, we're all happy, what's the problem? Right? If you knew your interview answers. But if you're coming to me and you're saying, yeah, Owen, I just can't connect with them or build rapport with the interviewer, and like I feel like that's where I really shine in interviews, is I shine when I get to build my rapport. Okay, everyone loves the word shine there. I can shine when I build that rapport, have that connection with them, show them my personality, all that sort of thing. Okay, yeah, what that tells me is you're good at small talk, but you can't even answer the real questions anyway. So what it means is, when you got into that real interview, you probably wouldn't get the job anyway. Because, yes, I'm not disagreeing about this rapport thing. Yes, it is great to build rapport. I would build rapport. Like, it was important to me that I'd build rapport as soon as the interview started, trying to get us talking about something else. I've had some like laughs and jokes with the interviews before it's even started. Once you've done that, once you've built your rapport, it becomes so much easier. But still, the fundamentals is the interview answers. Because you guys can come in here with the biggest small talk you've ever seen, right? But not have anything to say for any of the questions, you're not going to get the job. Yeah, they like you, you seem like a kind of friendly guy, a nice person, all this sort of stuff. But if you don't know the questions, then what are you going to do? Like, the interview questions are your fundamental basics. Fundamental basics, most important thing. The rapport stuff, the first impression, the connecting, that's a bonus. You can still get the job with not great rapport as long as you have like solid questions. It's not the other way around. You can have amazing rapport, but you literally can't answer any of the questions, you're not getting the job. Okay, so I know I'm calling some people out right now, so there might be some people who are getting a bit, I don't know, upset or something, but this is a lesson for you. Again, I'm just going to be 100% with you guys, because I would rather you guys have this lesson now, and then it basically, you now go and practice it because you now know you need to practice it, and that means you guys can go and do well in your real interviews. It wouldn't be right if I said, oh no, you guys are all good, don't practice your interview questions, just focus on rapport. You go into your real thing and you can't answer any of the interview questions. So that's why I'm being just kind of brutally honest right now. Okay? What you need to do is learn how to properly answer interview questions in a way that makes you stand out, and then practice them. That's the key thing you need to do. If this is your mindset, this is just you being 100% honest right now. Owen, I can't answer interview questions, but I can do small talk. Great, that's fine. You actually need to learn how to do interview questions now. So those are the two issues solved with video interviews. Okay, so again, as I said, if there's more issues to do with video interviews, go put them in the comments below. I can film a follow-up video. But like, these are the main two ones that I've been hearing. Is doing it with yourself is weird because there's no one there, you're talking to a camera. Okay, just go practice it 100 times. Me doing this for 12 months now, it's not weird me talking to a camera. You go do it 100 times, it's not going to be weird you talking to a camera. The second thing is, if there's a connection first impression problem, all that is a coping mechanism from yourself to tell me, oh, and I don't know how to answer interview questions. It's literally the same questions, if not easier. So if you can't answer these questions, you're not going to be able to answer those. So that should be a bit of a wake-up call, hopefully. If you were like relying on this excuse here, it's an excuse, it's a cope, that's all it is. Okay, so just sort of finalise this video, a little table for you now to sort of diagnose where you're at. Where are you? If you're good with real interviews and you're good with video interviews and you've got like a 90% confidence in getting into a degree apprenticeship, awesome, you're sorted. Okay? Now, if you're bad with video interviews, okay, so you're bad with interviews, but then you're telling me you're good with real interviews, then it's basically this cope, like this cope here where you're saying, oh, I'm good with real ones, but because I can connect and have a good first impression, but I'm not good with video ones. Essentially, it's one of these two reasons. Either because you find it weird, so just practice, or this one. So if you resonate with the quotation which I'm going through today, which is obviously, oh, I can do real ones, but I can't do bad ones, this is what you need to do. You just need to get help with your interview answers and do mock interviews so that you can learn the best structures and answers, because that's effectively what it is. It's like, go and practice them, go and do mock ones, learn how to do the answers and all that sort of thing. Okay? If you're good with videos and bad with real, this means your answers are probably good. It's probably just a communication skills thing. Because if you're good with video interviews, what that tells me is you know how to answer the questions, you know the common questions, you know how to answer them. But if you then become bad when the real person steps into the room, it just means it's communication skills, it means it's confidence, it means it's interpersonal skills. So that just means, rather than practicing the questions on your own, you in particular need help doing mock interviews where you're with real people so that you can build your confidence and build those communication skills. And finally, if you're like bad with both of them, then you just need to get help on everything. Answers, communication skills, and mock interviews are going to be great for that. Okay, so I just want you to diagnose where you're at right now. Which of these boxes are you on? And I've told you what the sort of, what do they call it? That's your medicine. I don't know where the medical metaphors are coming from, but diagnose where you're at. Be completely honest with yourself. If you resonate with this quote, you're probably in this box here, which means you need to do more practice, and you also need to stop coping and actually start learning your interview questions, because these degree apprenticeships, they're competitive, man. I know I've done a good number of videos over the past couple of weeks, just brutally honest videos. Like, degree apprenticeships are competitive. Your competition are practicing their interviews for 8 hours a day, 3 days in a row. And if you're looking at it for 10 minutes the day before, probably not going to get the job, but it's down to you. It's down to you if you want the degree apprenticeship or the 45k of debt. Do you know what I mean? It's your choice, okay? And if you do want any help with your mock interviews, interview answers, including this 3-hour full course on interviews, we also do group calls. You get one-on-one calls with me, you get messaging with me, then you can join my coaching program. The link is in the description. Okay, hope this video has helped, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Peace.